Hi, ghbond here. My last night in the beautiful Lake Erie shore of Ohio, and it's time to get serious on RMSL. Crunch time is coming, and I think a lot of people might have some ideas about what to expect from price and how to trade that could perhaps use a little massaging. So we're going to get real serious tonight, and we're going to kick Ohio off and say bon voyage to Ohio, and we're going to say hello to RMSL FDA approval and how we trade around that. So let's get to it. Okay, this is the really long-term outlook for RMSL, and we want to get really serious here because FDA is approaching. So what can we expect? Now, I know some of you have been titillated with the idea of, look at what this stock did. It hit FDA and it 10x'd. Well, we don't know if it's going to 10x. We don't know if it's going to 2x. We don't know if it's going to 0.5x. However, let's be reasonable here. Just did some Fibonacci here. Got a couple projections here. 5 cents, 6 cents. If we only get 5 cents or 6 cents and, kind of Fibonacci and kind of an Elliott wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of situation, that's okay, because for most of us, we're holding until sales anyway. We're in no hurry. This is a long-term thing. And so we don't really mind if there's not a huge pop after FDA. For those of you who want to just play FDA, you're interested in taking your money and getting out and moving on to the next thing, the way to do it is you're going to get FDA and you're going to get a pop. Now, are we sure to get a pop? No, but what this does is it de-risks. Right now, if you're buying RMSL, inherent in that is some risk, and that FDA may not come, and so it may not be a full value. So it should be discounted. So when that risk goes away, 100% for sure, we should have a big increase, whether it's big in terms of 30% or big in terms of 30 cents. We don't know, but that's okay. So the first pop should be all the people are tuned in, all the people know what's up. First pop will happen, and people just can't stand looking at profit and not taking it. So there's going to be profit taking. It'll fall back a little, and then it'll show up on a lot of people's radar. That big jump, and the FDA approval announcement's going to go out, and people are going to go, "Oh, FDA approval! Look at it's running. Let's go!" And so there should be a secondary run. And when that secondary run kicks in, if it does, and that starts to lose momentum, that would be probably the most likely place that you're going to take your profits if it's in your mind to take some. For me, my profit targets remain the same, 25 cents, and expectation is that we'll get there in the fall, because by then we'll have 2 quarters of profit for RMSL. I think we should get there by then. And then $3 when they sell it. Now, why did I come up with those targets? I just did a couple different types of analysis. Those are the targets I picked, and I'm going to run with them until such point that we have visibility from the company that makes them unrealistic, too high or too low. Because right now we really have almost no visibility on future profits, and so my target is as good as the guy who says 50 cents sale price. It really doesn't matter at this point. The idea is, do you want to sell some at FDA or don't you? So the key is, again, have your plan ready. It's great to listen to my plan, but guess what? If things change, if there's unexpected consequences that we're not looking for, you have to know your own plan. You have to be able to make your own decisions, because you're not going to be able to get a hold of me and say, hey, it did this, what do I do now? So that's why it's always good to listen to what other people say, but have your own formulation. If you can't do it yourself, get somebody you trust to be your stock advisor and have them help you out. In terms of FDA fails, if FDA is rejected, I guess it depends on the reason. 1 cent has kind of been rock solid, but in this case, you're going to have a lot of dumb money in here, and if they all dump, we could go well below 1 cent, down to maybe 0.7. I think what would be 0.7 cents would be the place to buy, where I would be buying heavy. I guess I would watch the action and see if I could pick up 0.7. If not, I'm going to pick up 1 the way I always do. Always have more money for RMSL, but then it depends on the reason and it depends on the outlook. If they found something else, because as far as we know, our visibility, our information on this is that it was FDA approved except for this one test. RMSL's impression is that after this one test, that's the last and final requirement. So at this point, approval should be a rubber stamp. They should look at the test, say, yeah, you did the test, yeah, it looks good, boom, approved. Anything else would be a surprise. But RMSL is not beyond surprising us, so you got to, at least have in mind, have a plan, what we're going to do if it heads that way. And that applies for us long-term people and also you new people. Just be ready, have a plan ahead of time. Don't try and wonder what you're going to do and say, oh, it didn't get approved, it's down 50%, what do I do? No, you need to know ahead of time what's going to happen, and you need to, unemotionally as possible, execute your trade according to plan. Don't second guess yourself. The time for planning is before the battle, not in the battle. In the battle, yeah, you shift according to new battle information, but that shouldn't be where you're figuring out what your plan is. So having said that, let's go and take a look at the short term and what we do before FDA approval. Now we're going to look in that short-term action, and if you're in my crew, this is not support right here. You see these two candle bottoms, two red candle bottoms? Okay, a lot of people would say, oh look, we've got support there. No. Take a look at the 1-minute chart on RMSL. What this is temptation. Temptation for somebody to set a stop loss like right here, because look, now we've got the 20 EMA right here. We've got these. I could put my stop loss right here. Guess what? The market maker knows where those are. You don't ever want to have those out in the market on a stock like this that's so thin, because the market maker can get to it. All he has to do is pick a low volume time, do a run, and all of a sudden all these orders down here are going to trigger. And what happens when all those orders trigger? It takes a big dump down here into the mid twos. And what's waiting at the mid twos? The market maker's orders and my orders. So you definitely do not want to set a stop down there. I'm not telling you how to trade. I'm just telling you what makes sense if you're at all interested in hanging on to your shares. Second thing is, this is a very healthy trend here. This pullback, the prices, we don't care about any of this. The only thing we care about is FDA and how it behaves afterwards. We've already covered what might happen after FDA if FDA doesn't happen. So if you really, in terms of money management and risk management, feel that a stop loss is the thing you have to have it down here well under that, under all these lows, under 2 cents. I was always one who said we could get back down to 1 cent, and every time I said that, people said, there's no way we'll ever get down to 1 cent again. Guess what? I ended up buying more at 1 cent every time. They were always wrong. But I'm not saying that anymore. We're too close to FDA. I think 2 cents is fairly solid now. I don't think the market maker can get it that low, because I think there's too many people now who wish they bought more when it was lower. And so I think we've got plenty of buying potential. Mid twos, I think we can get. I don't believe we'll get below 2. So if you have to set it below all these lows, below 2 cents, I think that's where to put it if you have to have one. But in general, you don't want it there. It's just a big red flag. You're waving in front of the market maker and say, here, come get me. And he'll be more than happy to do that. So all we have to do now is just sit back and wait, kick your feet up. Keep an eye on it, especially if you're planning to trade around it, because it could happen anytime. And if you're not on the Twitter, get on the RMSL Twitter. And not only that, make sure you have the, besides following them, you have to click on the notification bell so you get a text or a beep or something when it actually they post something new, because RMSL is making heavy use of Twitter to release information. I would expect that when information comes, the first place we'll see it will be on Twitter. Perhaps when they have FDA, they'll want to do a formal press release, but I wouldn't be surprised if they pop it out on Twitter and say a formal press release will be forthcoming. and we'll be off to the races. So that's the short-term view. Really nothing to do. Stay away from those stop losses if you can, and just sit back and enjoy. It's been a long time coming for some of us, and just can't wait. So until next time, this is ghbond saying, let's go RMSL.